100 discs, one winner. The biggest giveaway in disc golf history.
Hello everyone and welcome back to MDG Media. We are super excited to be bringing you round 1 front 9 FPO feature card coverage of the 2025 Krokhol Open. This is in fact the #1 rated disc golf course in the world. We're excited to be here. The players are excited to be here. We're on the green of 18 right now. I'm Connor Wood and with me, Mr. Andrew Gum.
Howdy y'all, saddled up and ready to ride you through the best course in the world. Got a stacked field. Got the vendor village behind us, Vendorville. Super sick merch available from Happy with Par, my homeboy. That's really cool stuff. Make sure you check it out. And we got merch from Wayo Apparel, so badass. 100 disc giveaway. Don't forget about that. Like, subscribe, comment.
We're not going to forget about this player, Kristin Lätt, currently the highest rated FPO player in the world here on our lead card.
Yes, we also have Lykke Lorentzen from the home nation of Norway. Haven't seen her too much. She's been over in the States. Great to have her here on the European swing, playing in this great place, yeah.
Joining them, Keiti, Tätte, another Estonian FPO player. She's had a really solid season and looking to put together a podium finish here in Krokhol.
Yes, we have Holyn Handley, having an incredible season. Bunch of wins on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Maybe perhaps a strong case for Player of the Year so far, I would say.
We kick it off here on hole 1. Par 3, 111 meters, OB lining the left and right. But the main feature of this hole is this hill, which the basket is perched atop of. A lot of players are going to throw a hyzer into the slope and try and stick it, but it's very common that you see a roll away, even potentially on a putt, so this will keep you honest, but it's a nice drive to get your round started. Pump your driver up there, try to snag the 2, you're comfortable with the 3 walking off this green.
Yeah, the main danger is that OB on the left side with the sloping hill on the top of the plateau. Here we go. So excited for this.
First on tee from Parc, Estonia, and team Latitude 64. Give it up for Kristin Lätt.
Defending champion. Had a pretty exciting battle with Silva here last year. Hasn't been on the top of the podium recently, but always a threat.
You mentioned battles, Andrew. She has had a series of them in recent history. This weekend looking to try and seal the deal. A very common result here on a good-looking throw. That hyzer catching the edge, rolling down. Should be a safe 3 from there, most likely.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, Evelina Salonen not in the field this week.
Lykke. Team Thought Space Athletics. Applause for Lykke Lorentzen.
You touched on it earlier, Andrew. Lykke spent some recent time in the States, back now in Europe.
Yeah, residing in Austin, Texas currently, which is one of the coolest places I've ever been. Great disc golf community.
So team Latitude 64. Keiti, Tätte.
Keiti was on the practice round this week with Kristin. Super chill vibe. Really nice to have them. Check out that extra content on MDG. People are loving it. You will too.
And very well-rounded, quite a snappy player, good clean form, not super dynamic in the movements. Everything is crisp, everything is tight.
From Grapevine, Texas, US, team Discraft. And for the first time in Norway, Holyn Handley.
Yeah, I'd say one of the most talented players in the in disc golf right now. You know, she's learning valuable lessons in a lot of these battles. She seems to be getting better and better at closing the deal, and strong forehand backhand game, former ultimate player. Very athletic.
A straight flying drive, and it just finds the skip up
Wow.
into the bullseye. Incredible result
Good
there.
luck, ladies.
We saw only a meter or two more in height than, for example, Kristin's drive, but that is all the difference here on the green of one, a make or break scenario to get that left finish. We go first to Lykke. Found the OB left, just looking to now save the bogey.
A little forehand chip up. A little bit work left, but on the green.
And a solid bid for her there, keeping it tight, close to the green, especially in these winds. You want to be as close as possible. We go now. Kristin looking up the hill.
I wonder if she's giving this a run. Sure looks like it. Hard to get enough height at that point, but it stays close to the basket.
Lykke now takes a deep breath.
Oh, wide right. It's going to be a double. This is quite a bonus birdie here. We saw it averaging well over 3, nearly 3.5. So great to get that round started with a bird.
Would be correct there. Only 6 birdies on the day in the FPO field. That speaks volumes here. Just like that, our FPO feature card is off to the races.
Yeah, a couple pars, birdie and a double. Moving on to hole 2, par 4, 144 meters. A little bit turning right to left here. OB on that right side is the mistake you don't want to make. You're driving out from a little tunnel, but the trees don't come into play. Only time you'll end up in the woods is on that left side if you hyzer out too much with the righty backhand, and it's super thick in there, so you don't want to do that. It's gradually uphill all the way. Green on this very steep slope. Got the wood chips there though, which catches most of the shots coming in, but always roll away potential on this course. That's a theme you will see. Up first, Holyn. Taking the driver, touch hyzer. Yeah, played very well.
Maximizing your distance on the drive will make the upshot a little bit less dangerous, but it's not completely necessary, being only 144 meters on this par 4. We see Kristin use a little bit more width, but a similar overstability. And a clean hyzer from her there as well. I expect to see 2 more drives very similar to those. And it's also, Andrew, a good display of their power, throwing a one-angle shot. Sometimes you can compensate for power by shaping something, turning it over. Here it really is just a pure hyzer in an ideal throw.
Yeah, as you said, 144 meters, although it's slightly uphill. Not really a big distance hole. It's more about placement. But if you do get a little more distance, then it does help that approach. But not really needing to totally rip here. Just want to make sure you get it in the fairway and don't go OB right.
Lykke now up first. Going to be playing something with some understability, trying to land flat or even still turned over. She's done well to control it, fades a little bit down that hill on that right to left slope, but is certainly within striking distance.
Yeah, and I personally would rather be down there putting up as opposed to putting down. If you do miss it, then you'll have a very long comeback or so. That's a pretty safe spot to run a putt, and she's inside the circle. Look at that approach. Right on point. Beautifully done. Solid gallery. Nearly 1,000 tickets sold here just on opening day. So, yeah, great to have all those people out here. They love disc golf in Norway, as we see a solid approach there from Holyn. Kristin, so money with the forehand. It's been not quite as on point lately, but that's fine.
For both Holyn and Kristin there, that is, I think, what they would consider top of the field professionals, a stock shot on that slightly overstable forehand approach. Lykke coming up the hill now. A tentative putt leaves her into the cage. Kristin at this short distance to get her first birdie of the round, and it is in. See a good routine here from Holyn, despite being a very short putt, takes full advantage to maintain what is a perfect start here, 2 down through the first 2, and an incredibly streaky player in the sense that Holyn, when she's on, is super hot on all aspects, on the green, off the drive. She can be playing some perfect golf when she finds her stride.
Yeah, if she can keep it together and keep it consistent, I mean, as good as anybody, for sure.
We move on. The stunning hole 3, par 3, 69 meters. This is a pure tunnel shot. The initial gap is very tight. It begins to widen out as you go a little bit further down the fairway. You do have OB lining the left and right if you go too far, but the main obstacle here are the trees as well as this huge slope.
Yeah, you don't want to go off to the left. That drops off into oblivion. I believe it's actually playing as casual relief zone area, so it's not actually OB. You will take it as played as if it were OB on those blue stakes that you see on the left side, but you will not be given the penalty stroke. You'll just take your meter and relief from there because it's such a steep drop off. You just can't be going down there doing around looking for discs. It will take a long time. So nice change this year.
And some smooth touch from Holyn. Another in the circle birdie look here to go 3 through 3. Kristin as well.
Yeah, Kristin confessed in the practice round this is her least favorite hole.
Interesting. And that skip will give her something to come back, but still certainly in play. I would say deep circle 2 looking up the hill. Keiti now.
Skipping it up towards the green. Circle 2 look. It's a pretty tight gap, and it's kind of that in-between distance is the thing I think that makes it tricky. It's like, you know, sometimes it's easier to throw into a tight gap with full power as opposed to trying to kind of finesse something for some players. So I think that's what Kristin was talking about mostly.
And Lykke falls prey to that early gap. Kicked off to the left, has to scramble the forehand approach now. Has made good progress, but another treacherous par putt from range. These strokes are important, particularly early in the first round, in terms of momentum, both in the opening day as well as for the tournament. Having a good feeling goes a long way, and another one off the cage, although from that distance, certainly a respectable effort.
Solid there, catching cage, but good bid from deep C2. And there's 3 for 3 from Holyn. That is flaming hot out of the gates. Turkey time. She was sick and seems to be feeling better. Got the biorhythm on track after the trip over here. Great to see her feeling better and performing well. Lykke takes the bogey, tapped in par from Kristin.
And the pace is set by Holyn.
The discovery of electricity, the first flight, democracy, splitting the atom, computers, modern medicine, space travel, and of course, the royal line from Latitude 64.
Yes, moving on to hole 4. It's a par 3, downhill, beautiful shot, 117 meters. Yeah, the tee is, facing down the hill. There's OB on the right, which can definitely come into play, especially if you're facing any kind of headwind. You want it to hyzer out with the righty backhand here at the end and get around these guardian trees to give yourself a putt at birdie. Very picturesque hole. Very fun shot to throw, but very dangerous if you kick something early because then you can end up in a pretty tough spot, and scrambling's not easy on this course when you get off in the rough.
We've historically seen retees from really bad kicks because it gives you little to no chance to get out into a reasonable position. Holyn to kick us off here. I like the nose angle being slightly down. The fade is a touch early, but a great forward skip, and she's up there in play. Let's see how long she can ride this perfect start to the round.
Another birdie look. That's going to be probably the longest putt she's had yet, but definitely in position to get that birdie. That seems to be a little early on the inside, but it kicks into the open. Still an opportunity for a really long highlight putt, potentially. Keiti.
Great snap on that. We see a similar height to Holyn, but a touch more stability. Also a good forwards push there in a very similar spot, looking like a putt off. I think Keiti slightly longer putt. Lykke now. It's a nice shot. We'll have just a little bit of flip up and ride, but with the OB along the right side, it really is one of the only mistakes to make, and a very fortunate kick out back into the open there. She should be able to craft hyzer or even stretch out forehand if that's her comfortable approach shot there. If she was in those woods, it's a very different situation.
Solid approach there. In range. Little work left still for the par, but conditions are pretty nice this morning. Just a slight breeze. The winds have picked up a little bit now in the afternoon and evening, but sun's shining. It's been really glorious weather all week.
Lykke now for the par save.
Wow.
There it is. Finds the confident putt that she's been looking for so far in this round.
Yep. Very confident stroke. Banging it in the heart of the chains. That one just leaks left a little bit. Catches some chains, but never really had a chance. Keiti high off the band.
Kristin.
Oh.
The green of 4 playing pretty mean for our players here.
Solid comebacker though. Unfortunate bogey puts her back to even for the round.
And I think on this hole compared to others, Andrew, the missed putt hurts just a bit more because it's more that the drive means so much to get up there and to have a look compared to some other holes where maybe the drive is less important. That one stroke is one stroke, whether it's off the tee or on the green. On this hole, most commonly they find them off the tee with those dangers. For this card on the green. We continue here. Hole 5, par 4, 175 meters, bending softly left to right on the initial tee shot. You're going to want to break out into this undulating fairway. Avoid any of the danger along the left and right as you try to then approach into this well-guarded green. There's 2 entrances here, either left or right of those trees, depending on your landing zone. The most common way is left as the drone flies, and try to get up close with the slope dropping off in all directions, particularly long. Ideally, players will try to land 5 to 10 short of the pin, have a good putt.
Yeah, definitely slopes off back behind and ends up into a really rough patch of woods. It's a blind tee shot. You don't see the landing zone. You have to have practiced this hole to kind of get a feel for it. Forehand from Holyn. Moving nicely. Yeah, that's all you need. Right there in the middle of the fairway. We got to shout out We Are Disc Golf for hooking us up for that 100 disc giveaway. And those are some great discs, so make sure to get up in on that.
Totally unreal. I believe the biggest giveaway in disc golf history. Cumulative combined value of that giveaway into the thousands of euros, no doubt, 2,500 as a rough estimate. That is an incredible opportunity for one lucky winner out there.
Yeah, spread the word and get in on it. You could be that lucky winner. That cut rolls out. Decent drives from everybody. There's really not too much you need to do except just put yourself in the fairway on this one. Of course, the more distance you get, the better, but being only 175 meters, it's not really something you need to crush on.
And I like the ability to throw forehand hyzer here, shaping most naturally left to right, of course. The backhand has the opportunity for more distance with a complete flex, but brings that tight left side OB into play much more commonly. And
yeah,
we see just
pending from Keiti. She was a little bit in the woods there. Kind of turned early on the right.
But it's progress. She's out there safely. Lykke now looking to make her way to the green. It's low and overturned. Can't quite fight all the way. Going to leave her with just a short chip approach. Kristin in a good position to attack, although still some distance to bite off here. Obviously a very strong forehand player. This is an early release which will cost her if it doesn't hit something. And she's trickled in. That is very thick over on the right, but it looks like she had already slowed down. Had that not hit the tree and gone further in, I think even par could be out of play there. I think still manageable. We'll see what she's left with. A much nicer width from Holyn here.
Yeah. Doesn't get much ground play, but gets her close enough for another look for a birdie. Keiti going right side hyzer around the birch trees, and seems to work out very nicely. I like the approach on this one. It's like you can, you know, it's pretty equal right or left as to how you get after it. Dealer's choice.
And what's interesting is that I think you can't game plan to always take the left or right depending on your lie. You have to be flexible in the moment, and I think that that's a great challenge for players at the top of the field. If they're throwing backhand, forehand, turnover, or hyzer lines, they might have 3 different approaches here on any given day throughout the weekend.
Yep.
And we move now to the putts. Kristin in solid par. We saw she was not too deep in those woods on the right. And just like that, the par frame for our FPO feature card here on 5.
Yeah, kind of surprised not to see any birdies there. We are moving on to hole 6, par 3, 77 meters, uphill, moving left to right quite strongly. Total death drop off green behind, but quite a few trees here by the basket that can save you even if you're coming in hot. Averaging below par, so definitely some, you know, some birdies out there in the field. Here we see it, forehand from Holyn. It shapes up good for a forehand. You just have to make sure you don't put it too straight because there's these, you know, guardian trees. And that filters through most of those trees to give her a look. Quite good look, actually.
Keiti opting for the backhand turnover. She's looking to have this move left to right and pan out at the end. Beautifully executed, pure down the gap. Can't ask for a better shaped backhand.
Yeah, and there can't be a better shaped backhand than Sophia Donneke today, who aced this hole with the AVR 3. She said it was just a perfect shot. Like, thought maybe it was going to go long, but it connected with chains, so big props to her. The Canadian out there in the field, getting that one.
Kristin playing the forehand hyzer. Great slowdown by the tree there. That will keep her very close. And you mentioned, Andrew, hole 6, playing at 2.88. Over a quarter of the field finding the birdie 2. Certainly an opportunity. Lykke with a slow start. Also not able to capitalize here on 6. Even that putt left there for par is not going to be the most comfortable, and it seems like her game is just not all aligned at the moment.
I'm pretty impressed with the statistics on this for the field. Like, that's, I've played that hole, and that green is scary. And the shape from the tee is pretty tricky too. You got to really bust a move on it. So, well done, ladies. There's a birdie right there. 4 down for the round. Clean sheet. Off to the races here.
Kristin for her birdie, looking at the drop off. Great speed on that putt. Very pure in the middle as well.
Fearless.
Hammes needs to get something going. And in, Adam Hammes. Hole in 1. Incredible.
We arrive now at hole 7. This par 4 playing is a 142-meter shot. You are battling uphill the entire way, so plays significantly longer. Players will want to shape a turnover that lands ideally flat. Anything that skips or rolls too far left or right will very quickly find this natural rough. As you then come into the green, you have an incredibly steep and quick drop-off out to the left. As a result, if they're comfortable with it, a lot of players, right-handed players, will play the forehand hyzer, play to the slope on the right, and take a slightly treacherous putt. I think if you keep yourself in the fairway, this hole is certainly attackable, and averaging a 3.92, the stats would agree.
Yeah, another very scary green, but also a pretty short par 4. So, yeah, just be careful on the approach, I guess. Get the drive out there somewhere into a decent place. this is an old ball golf course. So if you're seeing this lush greenery, you know, and all the great groundswork, I'd say they're very lucky to stumble upon this property, and we're really grateful for them to convert it into a disc golf course because the views are stunning and it's really fun to play, to have such open space but surrounded by beautiful woods.
Keiti with a stunning backhand shape, absolutely no fade to be seen. That's what you'd like. I think being comfortable going forehand here is a huge advantage. We see that, I think, from both Holyn and Kristin.
Yeah, that's all you need. Just put it in the middle.
And I'd say that characterizes this course well. The fairways are well defined. When you go off them, that OB can come in quickly, but the fairways are generous and fair enough that when you do find yourself in the rough, you feel like you did something wrong. It's not random, it's not unfair.
It's so fair, yeah. Yeah, the natural OB with the rough. Yeah, the OB. You know, there's plenty of space to craft your lines, and if you're in control of your disc, you shouldn't be punished, but if you make a bad shot, you definitely have to pay. But players definitely enjoy that kind of consistent fairness of it.
You see the fear of the left side there on the backhand. Lykke gets that on a late release, quickly over to the right, settles softly though. We go now to Kristin, shaping one up. Even her leaning really far to that right side. You can sometimes roll back into that little depressed gully there, but even that is well within the circle. Keiti, she showed already fantastic touch on the backhand turnover off the tee. We see the standstill approach, likely a very similar shape here. Beautiful soft landing.
Yeah, that'll do. Holyn, forehand approach. So smooth with it. Yeah, right there on that wood chip green. That's where you want to be. Don't want to play around with this one. That drop off can definitely hurt you. That's risky business right there. We can't see from that camera angle. It looks like it might have gotten a bit of a roll down, which is what you would expect to see with that kind of a shot. Solid comeback effort. Hits the cage, stays put, luckily.
You see Kristin with a death putt here. Soft left to right wind. Just low. These greens can play games on you, Andrew. It's a risk management the whole way through the hole from beginning to end.
Yeah, it can definitely make you feel a little shy. I guess you'd rather miss low and on the cage than to sail one past on that one. And there you see it again.
Both of those players, very capable putters. Holyn as well. I expect this to be a little more confident at that short range, and it is. She has done 5 down through 7, Andrew. Green on the scorecard, just lighting it up, sending a message to the field.
Flaming hot start. That's quite a lot of what we've seen from her this year. When she's hot, she's real hot. Moving on to hole 8. To par 5, 219 meters. Really, yeah, pretty much straight off the tee. There's a Mando on the left that you have to beat. These woods are thick on the right and left. This is OB that you see on this green. Don't want to get stuck in there. And then at the very end of it, you have to move very harshly and quickly right to left, down a hill into this really dark spot of the woods. Really fun hole to play. Kind of a soft par 5, I would say, but averaging right there around it, 5.04.
I think you nailed it, Andrew. This hole is incredibly polarizing by the numbers. You see a lot of birdies, but you also see a lot of huge numbers given how many dangers there are. You have the initial tunnel that you have to hit, totally required to have any chance at birdie. You have, of course, that OB island in the middle. You have the woods up by the green that if you're not in the perfect entrance, you have little to no gaps. There's just so many ingredients that you need to have correct in this hole to find the birdie that it's common as a big bogey as well. But you mentioned it, 33% of the field actually finding the birdie. but
Yeah.
it's stacked at the upper end as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun hole to play, and it's like eagle is totally in play here for these, like
look at
especially with this
this.
kind of a drive. Look at that.
Wow.
She just crushed it all the way up there. Now she's about 105 meters left. If she can just, you know, get that up there for the eagle look, that would be amazing. I mean, totally possible. I'm sure we will see at least one eagle this weekend on this hole, but I'm sure we're going to see some huge numbers too. So as you said, very polarizing, and I think that's usually a sign of a very good hole design, in my opinion. Score separation, that's the key.
Totally agree. A par 5 where you can take anything from a 3 to an 8 within reason is a sign of a good hole, and we see just a simple pitch out there.
Yeah, and Kristin in the practice round was saying that it's even possible to see an albatross on this hole, you know, potentially if something crazy happens. So
That's true. I mean, you're throwing a blind hyzer into the tree line. You never
Yeah.
see the green, but the natural shape and entrance that you have is going to flash the green if you throw a good shot
sure.
almost every time. So I can understand that, and excited for what this weekend brings us. We see Holyn. I like this because it's getting clearly over that OB island, and being on the right will open up her entrance and angle into the green. Maybe she can look down actually to the basket if she gets far enough. We'll see what she's left with.
Exactly. That's a huge advantage. If you're able to get far on that right side, then you know, you can definitely have a better idea of where the basket actually is with the visual. That's early left, not what you want. It's so thick in there. Yeah, really hard to find a way up to the basket from there. Scrambling. So Kristin, after just an ideal drive, a little bit low. Can it skip and? Okay, actually, it's really good.
Piercing,
It's
Andrew.
good.
It's going. Oh, but just kicked out of the entrance into the trees.
Yeah.
That was looking pretty nice had she beaten that one. I think a little bit long of the ideal entrance. You mentioned it was low. Had that been a little bit more nose up on the release,
Yeah.
I think that's a nearly perfect 2 shots.
I think she played it really well, actually. Once I saw the flight, low's not really a problem. If you're high, that's when it fades out early usually and ends up in a really tough place. But didn't quite get the angle on the skip that she was maybe hoping for to filter herself down there for the eagle look. But she's still in prime position for an easy birdie up and down.
We see Holyn now actually caught up in this bush, has forced to a patent pending, looking to craft a finesse line into the trees. She's done that. She'll have a look, not a particularly close one, but that is very common on this green. Particularly, I mean, this is what you see from early left. These gaps are so small, no bigger than sometimes half a meter, not more than a meter anywhere, really.
Yeah, you can take a few strokes just trying to get yourself to the basket from in there. But
And that's solid progress. I
Yeah,
think
she seems to
she'll
have
be all
done
right
well.
with that.
for sure. Keiti eyeing up the basket. She must have found a line. From here, it doesn't look like much, but yeah, there she catches a late tree on it. Kristin on a knee, pitching up.
No problem for her.
Very nicely played. Easy bird. Holyn for her
For-
birdie.
Absolutely. Can she secure it in
she
the chains?
can.
Strong side to go 6 under through the first 8.
I really like that camera angle too. Great job, MDG crew. Bringing us the best views. Highlight putt there from Holyn, and she's 6 under through 8 holes.
Bogey free.
Shredding it up. So cool to see.
Keiti off the cage. Lykke has had a tough start to this first round, and it continues here on the green of 8. Just the drives aren't quite lining up on her aiming points. The putts aren't quite sticking it. And we see Keiti tapping in the bogey there, along with Lykke. Kristin, light work for the birdie. You see how much it pays off to have a perfect drive. We see here hole 9, this 85-meter par 3 playing softly uphill. Also quite a pure tunnel shot. Players are going to want to throw something slightly understable and fight their way up this hill, avoiding the trees. And once you arrive to the green, you have an elevated basket. This hole, interestingly, was the most parred hole on the course. Not many birdies, but also not many bogeys. If you keep it in the fairway, there's not too much danger. It's just tough to get all the way there.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It is way uphill. Only 85 meters, but plays more like about 100, I would say. And it's a pretty tight line. You got to kind of flip something up, ride it flat. And then to get the height required to get it up there is sometimes quite tricky. Kristin also lining up the backhand. That's a little bit left, and she hits those trees. Pretty common result. And she's only halfway there, but like you said, pars are pretty common, even after shank off the tee, being a short par 3 and all. Just got to beat those birch trees in the middle, really, and then you're usually fine after that. But there is a few trees on the right side near the green that sneak in that you see just there on the left side of your screen. So even some good drives can end up in a little bit tough footing on there.
I really like the use of this slope in the design, forcing players to pump their way up the hill. It's so rare you see someone go long. The best drives are often hitting right before that last slope up, cresting towards the basket. And it most naturally pulls players into throwing probably a different disc that they would on this shape on a flat ground, obviously, because they're having to throw significantly more nose up. So I like the complexity that it adds.
Yeah, good observation. Great upshot there from Keiti. And another one from Lykke. So Holyn, circle 2. Another sick putt for birdie for her. 7 down through 9. That's very impressive.
Holyn hot streak Handley strikes again here.
Yeah.
Front 9 just absolutely lights out. Kristin healthy with the putt as well. You'd like to see it.
That is some clinic we're seeing from Holyn. Gonna be pretty hard to keep pace with that.
And for Lykke, not quite the front 9 I think she was hoping for. Keiti with that short tap in, retaining herself 1 stroke under par here. As we go into the back 9, we have kicked off the 2025 Krokhol Open. It's amazing here. The weather is very favorable for the players. We see the standings here. The field is in full force. Our FPO players looking to strike, but Holyn just so hot right now, Andrew.
Yeah, kicking it off in style here. Outdoor commentary, incredibly fun. Great card, great venue, great quality production from MDG as always. Check it out, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Think about that giveaway, 100 discs to 1 single winner. Like, subscribe, comment to be in that running for those incredibly good quality discs from We Are Disc Golf.
And
Thanks for
join
being with
us
me.
for the back 9. Make sure to catch us there. Enjoy.